Hey people, John V here from PhoneArena. You're watching our in-depth video review of the Samsung Rugby Smart. It's available right now through AT&T with the tier contract price of only $100. Follows in similar premise to the Samsung Galaxy Discover, which released back in December. Kind of has a similar rugged form factor and meets military specification 810F, and it's also waterproof. Much like any other rugged type device we've been checking out late, we find all those qualities in it in the Samsung Rugby Smart. We can kind of tell with its rubbery sides and also the rigid back cover here, which is held together with the latch. It goes to show off its sturdy nature, and it's very solid feeling. Normal in size, also weight is evenly distributed. Might not be the most fashionable thing, but it doesn't try to be just because it's more out to be a rugged device than anything else. It's worth noting that the handset meets military standard 810F for dust, humidity, range, shock, and temperature. And when you talk about shock, you could drop this for a little bit, 3 feet, 5 feet at the most, but anything more than that, let's say you're throwing it out of a two-story window, it's going to incur some damage. It's not really meant for that purpose. It's also waterproof, so it could work underwater, up to 1 meter water for 30 minutes, but it's not meant to, actually go out and go swim with it. They just say that it is able to withstand some levels of water. Indeed, it's not something you typically find on a rugged device, but we're very happy to find a 3.7-inch WVGA Super AMOLED panel in place with the Samsung Rugby Smart. Good details considering its screen size and resolution, so it's fine text, more than legible, easy in the eyes. And seeing that it is an AMOLED, Super AMOLED panel in place, you get all those qualities that we love about it. Saturated looking color tones, wide viewing angles, high contrast. It's definitely a dreamy thing to look at, and it's very surprising because it's considering it's a rugged type device. Accidental presses are nearly non-existent just because it uses physical buttons and they have a really good solid tactile response. For those big into video chat, you'll be happy to know that the handset comes with a front-facing 1.3 megapixel camera. There are no problems at all trying to make out and feel its dedicated power button has a good size to it and also very responsive. Additionally, we could say the same thing about its volume control. It's very pronounced and good tactile response. It also doubles as a flashlight. You just hold the volume up button while it's turned off and it'll turn it on. Of course, its micro USB port is well protected with a plastic cover here, which goes to give it some of its waterproof aspects. But you could kind of tell too, it's recessed, so most micro USB cables won't fit in properly. After removing its back cover, we gain access to its 1650 mAh battery, and removing that, we could find the micro SD card slot and the SIM card slot. For those of you out there that aren't convinced about the waterproof aspect of the Samsung Rugby Smart, we're going to quickly show you it off here. We have a container filled with water. We have the handset running a video here. You got to make sure before it gets in the water, you have to make sure it's secured everywhere, such as the 3.5mm headset jack, the micro USB port, and also the latch in the back here. So we have video. We're going to pump it up to its maximum volume. We're going to dunk it in. And there you go, it's still playing underwater, not a problem at all. It's good up to 1 meter water for 30 minutes, and you can tell it's still playing, no issues whatsoever. So if you're going to be using the handset near water, let's say the pool or even the beach, if it gets into water by accident, you have no worries whatsoever because it's going to still be able to run with no problems at all. Well, there's nothing really new about the experience found in the Samsung Rugby Smart, just because it falls in line to any other recent Samsung smartphone we've been checking out of late. It's running the most up-to-date version of TouchWiz on top of Android 2.3 Gingerbread, and despite it not being ice cream sandwich from the box, it's still reasonable just because you have all the deeper level of personalization found with TouchWiz and Android as a whole, like its vast set of widgets, and also its useful layout. We're grateful to know that the handset is running a 1.4 GHz single-core processor, and it's coupled with 512 megabytes of RAM, and you can tell it does most basic operations without much problems, but every now and then you notice some evidence of slowdown, but it is dramatically worsened when we switch to a live wallpaper here. We'll quickly show you this here. With something more graphically intensive, it really bogs down its performance, and you can tell just tracking our finger, it's having a hard time, and it is displaying a lot more evidence of sluggishness. Mainly because of its 3.7-inch display, we find it very difficult to actually type up messages with its on-screen keyboards. Its response is adequate, but it's just very cramped with its layout, making it very difficult to accurately type up messages without any mistakes. Even though it's branded as a 4G-enabled device, it's only reserved for HSPA Plus connectivity. No LTE with this guy here, but nevertheless, we're very happy with the web browsing performance. You could tell with kinetic scrolling, pinch gestures, it has a good amount of fluidity and doesn't really stutter that much, even with flash content on screen. Much like any other TouchWiz device we checked out, the handset's running the same music player found on other devices. It's very conventional by today's standards. You have this nifty visualization as an option too. As far as the audio quality of that speaker, it's average in tone, doesn't strain at all. Luckily, there are a host of different equalizer settings to better fine-tune its quality. The video we are playing here is encoded in MPEG-4. It's 1280 by 720 resolution, and it's the maximum resolution video it could play. It's unable to play any 1080p's. Luckily, though, with its Super AMOLED panel, still a great experience on the handset, just because it delivers some, good-looking visuals, good colors too, and very smooth at its playback. For a mid-range device, we're pretty accepting of the quality produced by the handset's 5-megapixel autofocus camera. They're not stellar, but good enough for most things. Outdoor shots, details tend to be a little bit on the soft side, but luckily its color reproduction is right there in the middle, balanced with its neutral tones. However, though, when we take it indoors under artificial lighting, it tends to look washed out, a little bit on the bland side. And of course, low lighting shots, there's just a lot of graininess to it, but fortunately its LED flash does a good job in combating it. We actually would have liked its 720p video recording quality if it weren't for its muddy looking details and some artifacting going on when you're panning very quickly. Aside from that, we do like that it moves swiftly at 30 frames per second, so no choppiness whatsoever. It has clear audio recording, exposure is gradual, and its color reproduction seems to be balanced. Unfortunately, we're not fans of the calling quality we find with the handset, just because with the earpiece, it tends to muffle voices tremendously, making it very difficult to hear our callers. On the other end of the line, our callers didn't have issues on their end, and when we switched to using speakerphone, it still exhibits the same muffled tones as before. During our time testing out the handset, it didn't fluctuate its signal strength, it maintains a good connection to the network, and it didn't drop any phone calls. Meanwhile, battery life seems to be average with the handset. We were able to get at least one solid day of normal usage on a full charge, and we also managed to get a little bit over 8 hours of continuous talk time, which meets the manufacturer's rating. Honestly, for $100 in the 2-year contract, the Samsung Rugby Smart offers a good amount of value to it. On top of that, it's one of the few handsets on AT&T's lineup that's ruggedized, so it's going to be able to withstand most of the punishment that people put their smartphones into. And on top of that, it's not every day you find a handset that's also waterproof, so it has a lot to offer for the money. So if you'd like to learn more about the Samsung Rugby Smart, you can check out our website, guys, PhoneArena.com. This is John V. Thanks for watching.